Hey everyone, welcome to my studio. This week I will continue to make these fused glass inclusions, but looking back at some of these other ones, you can see that they have rather large holes. And one thing that I can do is I can make pieces to fit in these holes. So if I make frit balls that are small enough, they might fit in some of these smaller holes, and some of the holes are quite large, so I can make a generous sized frit ball. And then if they don't fit perfectly next to each other, I need to have some small pieces so that there's a nice transition between the sections and between the same color. I'm gonna make a whole load of just smaller pieces and frit balls. These are the 4 color combinations that I started with. So for this first load of smaller pieces, I am just gonna focus on these 4 colors. I don't wanna have too many things going on. I wouldn't know what to do with them when I was done. Go. I just love this step. Ooh, all rounded out and pretty. Awesome. You guys, I brought the shelf outside. I'm going to put the pieces in the colander and rinse with the hose. They just look so great. I'm being very careful about taking these off of the kiln shelf because I want to reuse this paper as many times as possible. So I'm trying to not rip it. Our overall plan is to use glass fusions in these tree areas, glass within the letters themselves, and outline the letters graphically so that they stand out just a little bit more than the rest of it. We had a great idea of maybe putting some glass fusions as part of this, but not the whole, just to tie the glass fusion parts together a bit within the design. So I am going to create some bigger pieces of green to start with to see how they look, to put inside those bigger areas. I'm going to be making longer pieces because it's sort of a grassy area and I want to emulate that grass a little bit rather than the foliage of the leaves. So it's going to be a little bit different. And I'm kind of getting started with these pieces. When you go to fuse glass, it wants to become thicker than it actually is. So standard glass is about 1/8 of an inch thick or 3 millimeters. And when it fuses, it wants to go to a thickness that is 1/4 inch thick or 6 millimeters, and it wants to round out. So really the best way to do these glass fusions is to double up the layers. And then if I want to put any speckles and things like that on it, I can, and it will still go to the thickness that it wants to be. It'll go to 1/4 inch thick. If I just did one layer, it would shrink up quite a bit, and it would be thicker on the edges depending on how big the pieces are. So to keep it a little bit more consistent throughout the pieces, I will be stacking it to have 2 layers, because in the end it wants to be about 1/4 inch thick. And right now it's 1/8 of an inch thick. This would be much easier if I could just buy long, skinny pieces. Oh yeah, they make it. It's called stringer for fusing. Unfortunately, the one that I have is not compatible with my COE 96. This one is COE 90, so I can't use it. So I'm just making do. I'm doing this test to see if these pieces will resemble grassy pieces once they are fused. And remember, this is a large scale project. It will be viewed from a distance. So these are kind of tiny, and I want it to be something that's pretty bold. So the bigger pieces are perfectly fine for this particular application. Favorite part, complete. Here we go. Oh, they look amazing. I can't wait to put these in the mosaic. I'm at Jennifer's studio again, and we are cutting some pieces to see how they fit, and we are hoping to start gluing today just to get started on this. Jennifer has been cutting and shaping some of the ceramic pieces that will be used in the tree trunks on panels 1 and 2. So she's been using her wet saw to cut them. That's what she's been doing while I've been fusing.
So what we're doing today, which Julie has probably already explained, is we're trying to get tiles set to actually start gluing. So we're working on some trees, and we are working on the tree trunks, and we're working on the foliage for the trees, and we are working on the some of the hills. And what we're doing right now is we're just setting the tiles to make sure that it all flows. And once we are happy with an area, we will actually start gluing.
Are we going to glue today?
No, no, we're not going to glue today, but there are 160 square feet to glue, and I have to convince Julie that that's going to take a very long time. So I'm anxious to start gluing. And so what I'm doing right now is, and Julie is too, setting tiles so that we can say, okay, and then start gluing those. That's where we are. Okay, so our panels 1 and 2 that she was just talking about. We've made some decisions to make these glass inclusions for these bushes as well, just to repeat them because it's just so luscious. So I get to work on this luscious part, and look at these rough trunks. That's what Jennifer gets to work on with her saw. And we're playing with the background colors. We haven't quite figured that out yet. And let me show you what's on the floor. So we're also looking at, I believe this is panel 12 of 12, at the sky, and it's got a cloud up there, and we're going to use some rounds, so that'll be fun. And here is the first D in Dunwoody. This is panel 3 of 12, and I will be taking this one with me as well as panel 4 of 12 to start working on the letters and getting those knocked out. That's it. Here's the wall. I happened to be driving by, so I thought I'd show you guys. They finished the top cap and it's ready to go. And this is the intersection. It's a pretty busy intersection, so I think a lot of people
will see this. It'll be very visible. All these pieces are not glued yet, and we're about to glue the first 2 pieces. Wait. Okay.
Mine's down.
Oh. Isn't it interesting to see how everybody works? I have just found out that Jennifer uses a very high-tech
utensil.
a screw to apply her thinset
I
to the
do.
back of the pieces.
Because my technique is to blob it on and not to spread it on.
Gotcha. So now I'm going to show you my technique.
So here's what I do. I pick up a piece, I back butter it nicely, make sure I get the corners.
Oh dear God.
Ooh, there we go. It's not going anywhere.
Okay.
And we're going to grout these glass infusions to see what they look like with the grout, the gray grout that we're going to be using. And this little girl is Chloe. This is Jennifer's dog. Chloe is 12 years old. Isn't she sweet? She greeted me when I came in the house. So our first work session together, this is how much we got finished. This is all adhered now. I'll be making some more fused pieces for the top. Very nice. Very nice. That's putting it together. Thanks for watching. See you next time.